There. What do you see?
I see her in the flat. I hear a creak of the case as it opens, and there's a flash of light on the flute as she lifts it out. She looks at it like it was something completely new. Now the first notes. Awkward at first, each time. It's like she's finding her voice. And she goes to the window and plays, looking out. And her face is like iron. After a while, she turns and, I don't think she sees me. There's something else she sees. I don't know what. Well, she stops playing and there is a smile. As if she'd heard a sound in her playing that I will never find. I miss her. I hurt her.
Just because you couldn't face it all. You say she wasn't looking at you. Perhaps she never saw you.
You could be right.
I was 3 months when I came to you, Mum?
99 days. You came home on the 99th day of your life.
Yes. I came home. And you left home.
Please.
Well, it's true. That's what we were told.
Did you have other children?
No.
And you didn't marry?
No.
Why not?
Goodness. Well, never seemed right. I had friendships. I have friendships. No, I didn't marry.
Did you feel guilty? Was that it?
I felt dismay.
Dismay? What on earth does that mean? I feel dismayed if I lose a garden trowel.
But what did she feel? Stefania? Did you try to contact her?
Many times. Her name is quite distinct, and so I used to search, not thoroughly, but I'd look through newspapers in the library, phone books. What did she feel? Honestly, I don't know. How can I know? She was kind, funny, bright. She played the flute. She wanted to study physics. She thought that this was the new world, working with the invisible forces of nature. She called them the depths you never see.
And you didn't see her again?
Once, on a bus, going south of the river, I thought I saw her. She was 5 rows in front of me, sitting next to another lady. She turned to speak to whoever it was, and I saw the afternoon light on her face. I was so sure it was her. I wanted to get up and say something. Right down into Southwark. I was getting off at the South Bank, but I stayed on. Then we stopped. Nowhere I knew. She stood up and made her way to the stairs, took hold of the rail and made her way down. The other woman following. She kept looking at her feet to watch her step, I suppose. But as her face grew level with the passengers on the upper deck, I could have sworn she lifted her eyes. And for a second, she looked right at me. I was sure of it. Grey eyes, head in one of those silk scarves. And then it was over. She was gone. It was as if she'd known I was there all along and was waiting for me to say something to pay her back, to lessen the loss somehow.
And that was the last time?
It was. So far as I know, I wish I could tell you more, Fiona.
When was that?
Gosh, 1990s? Early 90s, 91 or 2, I think. I'd just got a job with the publishers at that time, I know.
Why didn't you follow her?
Afraid. I was afraid.
Afraid of a woman you'd left?
Yes, of course. Terrified. How would I have made up for everything after so long?
Well, perhaps it wouldn't have been up to you. I think Stefania would have told you herself.
And now you're here.
It's the best I can do.
Well, you cause trouble when you run away from someone's life, and you make trouble when you jump into someone else's.
It was not my intention.
Who cares about intentions? It's done. What do you want? Money?
Money? God, Lord, no, I'm fine. No. Do you really think that's what drew me here? Is it? Goodness, I've got things badly wrong, haven't I? Have I given that impression? How terrible.
Well, it's what people usually want, isn't it?
No, he doesn't want that. It's more than that.
Is it? How do you know?
Can you remember when we said we'd look for another way to have a child?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, of course you can. We were on the Dover-Calais ferry coming back from the Gite, miles from anywhere in winter. You'd never been to Paris before. I could hardly believe it. We'd done all the tourist things, and then you drove us back.
Yeah, the fog was thicker than a brick.
All the sound disappeared. I couldn't even hear the engine.
I went down the wrong side of the motorway.
That's right. Oh, a truck slowed down, stopped, and shouted at us to turn round. It's all I could think of on the ferry. Well, almost.
I brought you some tea in the upper deck cafe, looking out towards the North Sea. Rain.
It was heavenly sunshine.
Well, you know best.
And that's what you said. Well, May, my love, you know what's best, if that's what you want. You put your arm round my shoulders and pulled me closer, and I said, "What are you doing accosting me in public? There are small children nearby." Oh, we laughed a bit. And you said,
I know what you're thinking. That's what you said. And then you said something like,
"It isn't the end of the world to be just the two of us." Just, you said. You wouldn't say that if you were married to
James Stewart. Everyone liked James Stewart.
I stood up and performed for the upper deck tea room. I don't need other people. I don't need help. I can take care of me. Go on, what film's it from?
The Far Country.
I can take care of me. And you, Ted. I can take care of you. You said, "I shall make it all right. Everything will be all right. Leave it to me." And I'm afraid I got a little cross, because how on earth could he? The whole experience had been so ghastly.
We shall be Mr. and Mrs. Brownlow. We shall find a David Copperfield.
I said, "What are you talking about?" And then we went silent, because we both knew exactly what you meant.
What was it, a year later when we brought Fiona home?
Goodness, no, 2 years, 2.5. Oh, the waiting room had posters all over the walls warning you not to smoke or drink or talk loudly. Nothing cheery.
Yeah.
A print of Normandy cornflowers. I remember that, because it was next to the door opposite where we came in. Oh, and when it opened at last, and she came out with the massive bundle of blankets with our baby inside in one hand and the carrot in the other. Oh, it was as if she'd found you on the other side of the blue field.
Stuffed with papers.
Oh, you were asleep. We all whispered. You only started crying when we got to the car.
And you didn't stop till you were 6. We couldn't believe how lucky we were.
Oh, I still can't.
Fiona, may I ask you something?
Well, that depends.
Are you happy? That's what I would like to ask, if I may.
Here he goes again. What does he want?
Michael?
Dad used to pick me up from school, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, if I got back from a sales trip in time, I'd finish my pitch early so I could beat the traffic. My sales figures were not brilliant.
No, they weren't.
Depending on how you looked at them. With my eyes closed, my figures were superb. So I'd leave the car at the foot of the hill where your school was. I loved hearing you chatter and worry and ask me things as we walked back down. Why is a leaf, not a hedgehog? Things like that. Never got the answer to that one.
I knocked you over once, running out the class. Mrs. Marshall, she used to make us line up in height order on the yard at the end of the day, and I could see you, and I wanted to go straight to you. We're children, we must show some manners. And when it was my turn, I ran across the yard, dropping my bag, and gave you the biggest hug. You toppled right back over. I was so scared. I thought you died.
I was a bit surprised. I hadn't got myself positioned right. None of the other children ran. Or am I imagining that?
No, I never knew when you were coming to get me.
I didn't want to promise something and then not make it up the motorway in time.
When we got home, I'd left my bag at school.
Where's your bag, darling child?
What?
Ah, my fault. We left it in the car. We'll just get it.
Oh, we drove back all the way back to school.
I was quite worried. I thought, you can't have parked just outside. And when I looked, the car wasn't there.
And the bag was soggy. It had been sitting in the yard the whole time. Why didn't anyone bring it in? Oh, sorry, Michael. What did you ask?
It's all right. Nothing.
No. Michael asked if you were happy, my dear.
I think it might be time to stop.
I think I agree.
Who cares what you think?
No, that's right. I am not important.
Do you intend repeating this? Are you going to leave my daughter alone?
If that's what Fiona would like.
It's not just Fiona, is it? That's what you don't get. It's all of us.
Put it right. Isn't that what she wrote?
It is. And it's on our photograph, not the one Fiona has. So
It isn't up to you, Michael. You don't have to put it right.
So I would like to try.
Well, stay away, that's how.
you're no longer absent, invisible. You aren't a story anymore.
I've often wondered what it might be like if I met you, Michael. And now it's happened. It's done. I think that's it. I think that might be it. It might be put right. I don't know. What did you want, Stefania? Where was she? What was she going through? The days she waited, the hours. Did you stand by the window, wondering when you'd come back? Did you make the bed and feel it still warm? Less food now. So did you think at least that'll be cheaper? Not the heating bills, though. How did you afford the rent? How did she afford the rent, Michael?
I don't know. She did some private tutoring.
Did you send her any money?
No. I should have done.
So what, you just left her live alone, carry the child, and then what? Love her and regret her? Love you and regret you? Was that it? If I have to put it right, I have to use her voice. I have to speak for her. So, Michael, are you ready?
Yes, I think so.
You left the flat. I heard the door close. I spoke to the child. He'll be back soon. He's just gone for birthday food. You didn't give a time. You just said you were going to the shop. I had a lesson at midday, so I got the bus, talked for a bit and went home. No one there. Were you all right? It was 4 p.m. Of course, we had no phone. There was a phone box down by the park. So I went there and waited. What was the point of that? But it's all I could think of. I didn't want to call the police. I didn't have good memories of the police. I wondered what they would ask. So I waited in the phone box. 3 people came along and rapped on the windows, but I told them to buzz off in check. He'll be home, I said to myself as I went back up the stairs to the flat. And when you weren't, I thought, it's okay. If he's hurt, he'll tell someone where he lives. Put it right. Put it right.
I wasn't hurt. I was well.
She loved you very much. You'd opened a door to this country. You laughed. You sat next to her in the theatre and whispered what was going on when she didn't understand the English. And you went away. You went away. Here I am, Michael. Here we are, Michael. We didn't go away. We stayed and we put it right.
Fiona, I don't know whether this was such a good idea.
Before I said I thought I heard her voice.
Yes, my love, I remember.
Well, now, don't you think you can all hear it now, can't you?
Enough. I have to insist.
I'm quite tired.
She sang. You said she sang?
She did.
That time, when we were on the ferry coming over from France, did you think it would be all right?
No, my love. But it is. I couldn't be more proud of my daughter.
Fiona, why don't you drive up? Come and see us.
You know what? I think I might.
Yes.
What would you like me to do?
Nothing. I think this is the last time we can meet.
And that's a shame.
But I think so.
So sorry, my dear. I'm glad you're happy. I have thought about you so much. I always will.
Are you all right to drive? Your father could come and get you. Or ask Mark to drive.
No, I'll do it. I'll come up on my own if that's all right.
Of course.
I suppose that's just it.
What, my dear?
With you and Dad. I've never been on my own. Not once.
Drive carefully. We'll see you soon.
I see you, Stefania. I hear you.
Proteži nek si ti